This is the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins at the 106th annual meeting of Ohio Farm Bureau, and this is a really unique situation. Johnny Cottingham joins us. He is an attorney with Wright and Moore, but also a delegate from Preble County. And we are going to be talking about something that went through the policy development process and got passed on the floor here today when it comes to agricultural leases and those agreements that come along with it. Johnny, as we talked about that, there were some changes to the agreement process and the way that landowners can, and farmers for that matter, get out of those lease agreements. What went through last year that kind of made this law become a little bit more prominent?
Yeah, so just last year or the year before, I'll have to excuse me on that one, Ohio put in a new ag lease termination law. And what that law provides is that if there is a written lease that does not specify an end date, or if the agricultural lease does not have a writing at all, so if it's oral, handshake, the landlord must give notice to the farmer by September 1st that they do not want that person to farm their ground the following year. It was a great benefit to our farmers here in the state of Ohio. As most of you know, right around that September time, we start looking at inputs. Potentially losing acres after purchasing inputs can put farmers in a really negative position. So that law was put into effect, and it's been really good. We've seen a lot of usage out of it so far.
And the law was really made because of what we're seeing as far as economic development, what we're seeing as far as urban development, if you will, from all those major metropolitan areas out to the countryside. But you're hearing from clientele across the state that maybe this law doesn't have enough teeth as it's written right now?
Yes, so I have worked with a few clients on this so far. One in particular, we had the landlord in that situation. I presented a letter to them that outlined that my client did in fact have an absolute right to farm the parcel for the following year. He responded by saying that the rental rate was going to be roughly 2.5 times what it had been the prior year. Again, for our farmers, doubling your rent price or multiplying it by 2.5 is just not economical, particularly in a year like this. So in effect, the spirit of the law was negated by this landlord's actions.
It's always a loophole in these new laws that people can find their way through, but that's what the policy you introduced on the floor here today from Preble County was all about, to give this law just a little bit more, I guess, foundation, right? Give farmers a little bit more protection. So what did you recommend to the delegate body, and was it taken up today?
Yeah, so the policy I recommended was to change that law to include a provision that states what the lease rate will be for the following year. It's pretty clear under Ohio law, at least based on my analysis, that the case would be, in a holdover period, the rental rate should be the same as it was the year before. However, to prove that, a Farm Bureau member or another farmer would likely have to go to court, fight that out, and then prove that they were correct. My goal with this policy is to get that added to the law, so to state that the rent for the holdover period, again, is the same as it was the year before, avoiding all of that unnecessary litigation and protecting the spirit of the law.
Went through without opposition here on the floor. So obviously it doesn't mean it's law. It just means that we support that this law gets changed. So what do you see as next steps now?
Yeah, the next step is implementing Ohio Farm Bureau's greatest technique here, which is to get out, speak to our lawmakers, other politicians, those things, and make sure that we put enough pressure on to get this law changed. I know I've experienced that process some myself. Ohio Farm Bureau does it well. We have great connections in the Ohio House and the Ohio Senate. I have no doubt that we will, the Friends of Ohio Farm Bureau will get this amended for us.
Jonathan Cottingham, wearing multiple hats here at the annual meeting, of course, as a delegate from Preble County, but also really speaking on behalf of Ohio Farm Bureau members and his clients throughout the state who are having issues with these agricultural lease agreements. With Wright and Moore, an attorney, and joining us here on the podcast. Really appreciate your time, and thanks for the insights and expertise.
Yep, thanks, Ty. Always glad to be here.
As the nation's #1 insurer of farms and farm families, Nationwide has long been a reliable resource for rural America. And while the current surge of data, technology, and globalization promises incredible growth potential, each new opportunity is shadowed by rising threats like security breaches, GMO contamination, and supply chain failures. This business is about adapting. It demands a protector just as forward-minded. It demands Nationwide.
Sometimes out here, you have to speak loudly.
Our voice alone may not have as much impact as we would like, but my voice
can be heard and influential through membership in Ohio Farm Bureau.
My voice, along with tens of thousands of Ohioans,
makes a difference when it comes to legislation, regulation, or litigation that can be positive or potentially harmful to those of us in the agriculture community.
Become a member today at ohiofarmbureau.org.
Because there is strength and members.
This is the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins. Registration is now open for the 2025 Young Agricultural Professionals Winter Leadership Experience coming up February 7th and 8th at Kalahari in Sandusky. Going to feature sessions covering topics ranging from traditional agriculture to niche marketing and farming, advocacy, consumer education. The list goes on and on. To talk more about it is the co-chairs of the Young Ag Professionals State Committee, Tim and Sarah Terrell, and Carly Fitz. Welcome to y'all.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You.
So I want to start with you, Tim and Sarah, and just kind of get to know you a little bit. Tell me about yourself, about your agriculture background there, where you're from.
So we're from Montgomery County, Southwest Montgomery County to be exact. Lived here my whole life, basically. Sarah and I was able to buy a farm several years ago, about a half mile from where I grew up. Family all lives here. We all live within about 3/4 of a mile of each other. Our operation, we primarily raise commercial meat goats. I do a little bit for the 4-H and show weather side, but mostly just commercial meat goats. And then off the farm, I'm able to sell ag and construction equipment as well as commercial trucks. So that's kind of what I do during the day, and then get to come home and have fun and play, as I say. So,
And while he's at work during the day, I stay home with our two kids. We have a 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. And I did not grow up involved in agriculture like he did, as far as living on a farm or even being around. He baled hay and did all kinds of stuff. I was involved in 4-H and always loved agriculture, but got involved with Farm Bureau right after we got married, and really developed a love for agriculture and educating everyone about what agriculture really is about and how it's not big and scary and all of those things. And so, I have been thrown into the world of goats and am learning to love it. Spent my morning this morning actually taking care of some baby goats. So it's a lot of fun just raising our kids here and instilling that love of agriculture in them. So, yeah.
Thrown in a world of goats. Carly beat that.
Well, I have the other side of those things. I have some sheep at my house. I'm from Perry County. So my family has sheep and hay, and then we also ventured into show cattle. So a joke within my family is that we don't know who's first generation, if it's me or if it's my parents. So another thing is I got involved with Farm Bureau when I wasn't even able to be a member quite yet. So I volunteered first as a land and living ambassador at the state fair. And I really followed the leadership pathway that Farm Bureau offers for us all the way from high school into now as a young professional. Started out with state fair, and I got the opportunity to do some legislative visits. So getting that opportunity to work with our state representatives and folks in the leadership is nothing can compare, really. I really enjoyed that. And then I got involved as a collegiate Farm Bureau member, got to serve as president of the Wilmington chapter. And then I also participated in discussion meet. So once the opportunity came around to apply for this committee, I was like, why not? Why not do it? So just being able to really develop those leadership qualities of, public speaking, being able to understand like a massive organization that stretches in all 88 counties is something that I would never take for granted. And just being able to interact with everyone within the industry that I care about so deeply has been awesome. So really grateful.
Being a member of Ohio Farm Bureau, being a young ag professional within the organization is one thing, but taking a leadership role, you're 18 to 35 years old. You have a lot going on in your life. You're busy as it is, yet you choose to take on these roles and do even more for the organization, and really in turn more for yourself as far as getting those qualities and those skills that you need to succeed throughout your life. Tim and Sarah, as you think about your past couple of years on state committee, what are some of the highlights, and why did you decide to take that next step into a leadership role within the organization?
So for us, we had the opportunity quite a few years ago to attend a YF&R conference. After having attended the Winter Leadership Conference and really gaining a lot from that, we got to see this on a national level. And we both came back and we were like, okay, so once, we want to do the committee. We're like, we want to turn around and invest back and give what our ideas are and what our passions are to help really like grow, Farm Bureau, the organization, the membership base, and do those things. And so over the last 3 years, I feel like we've really gotten a chance to do that. I know we're going to talk about the conference here a little bit, but that's been a big part of this year's conference has been a big part of what we've been passionate about. And just getting to see those things come to fruition has been a lot of fun and a very good privilege.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, we're both very involved in our county's 4-H program. We both grew up in 4-H, so seeing that like natural segue from 4-H, you kind of get out, graduate, Farm Bureau, a lot of people get lost, kind of where to go. And for us, Farm Bureau was a really good fit, and so that's really why we've chosen to really invest in the young ag professionals age group and in the programming. We feel it's super important. I've seen what it's Farm Bureau as an organization has done for my parents, for neighbors, and other people throughout the state, and then it's been an incredible opportunity. We're kind of stuck down here in the southwest part of the state, but to get out and really see what else the state has to offer, and network and make friends in other parts of the state. And Ohio is so diverse when it comes to agriculture, and it just makes me believe so much more in what Farm Bureau is fighting for at the state, and even in federal level, because it's something. I mean, we couldn't do this on our own, and we'll try locally, but when you get much past that, there's just so much going on in the state as far as agriculture goes, and we need to continue to get the next generation involved. So it's been a really big thing for us and really important.
Being on the committee, I think my favorite thing that we've done, I mean, we've done a lot of really cool things. But I think that probably looking at the end of this and going out, my favorite thing that we got to do is go to Washington, D.C. this year and really connect all of those pieces. I am a history nerd. Politics was something that I considered before college and everything. And so getting to go and be in that and not just see like something that I'm passionate about and love as far as history, but connect that with our everyday lives was so cool. And getting to go in and just have a voice, like that was really awesome, and definitely something I cherish coming out of this, like as we come out of this experience. So
Carly, what are some of the highlights for you and the takeaway as you end your role here as a leader with the Young Ag Professional State Committee?
Yeah, so some of my biggest takeaways have been, right up there with Sarah and Tim. Going on that Washington leadership experience was really impactful because I got to connect with folks who are leading the collegiate chapters now. And, I'm on the younger end of the YAP spectrum. So I like to say I can connect with those collegiate folks a little bit more, and being able to see my sister become involved with those groups has been really fulfilling. And then I got the opportunity to attend the Women's ACE conference in Washington, D.C. So I've been able to visit twice while on the committee. And I'll tell you, those folks love Farm Bureau. And it is always really impactful when we get to confirm that relationship that we have and once again fight for our industry. And then I think just, being able to attend the Explore Ag graduation too. You see folks from all corners of the state and cities in the country come together to attend those camps, and seeing that week-long transformation from folks that, might not know that much about ag at all, to being able to go in and say, hey, I want to be a food scientist. Oh, I want to go study agronomy now, or turf grass management. Like, I don't know. It's just really impactful to me. And I come from a policy background in my undergrad, so just being able to continue honing in on those policy skills has been something that I'm really thankful for.
All the work you put in over the last 3 years culminates into the Winter Leadership Experience. Again, that's February 7th and 8th in Kalahari in Sandusky, Ohio. Embracing your season is the theme this year, and there's a good reason for that. Tim and Sarah, a big change to the Winter Leadership Experience this year as far as who's invited.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is probably the part that I get like the most excited about. And this just comes from me being an old soul at heart. But typically our age group is 18 to 35, but this year we've decided to pull all age restrictions back, and it's open to the to all Farm Bureau members. So we're really looking forward to that, and that really what made us really decide to do it this year was with us leaving Columbus and going back to Kalahari again. We're able to have that family aspect there, and so we're super excited to have that. And it's with the normal age range, 18 to 35, we'll have people our age, obviously, and then their kids with Kalahari, and then you can even have parents, maybe even grandparents of people in our normal age range of here. And so it's I can't wait to see. I hope somebody shows up with 4 generations of one family to the conference. That'll be like amazing. I don't know. We'll have to get like a prize. I don't know. Somebody in Farm Bureau is like going to be coming at me for this, but if somebody comes 4 generations, come see me. We'll get you something. I promise. I mean, this is be like the best thing ever. So and honestly, Ty, this is like really what Farm Bureau is about family, getting opportunities to come and learn and understand where our membership dollars are going, the voice that's hearing, and there's going to be great programming. It doesn't matter what age group you're at. Our committee has done an excellent job of putting together some really, really good presenters and speakers for that to cover the whole age range that we hope to show up. So yeah, sorry, I just get a little excited when it comes to talking about that.
No.
Yeah, and it goes back to even committees before us. They really laid some of the groundwork for us, and I know our committee is gonna ultimately get the credit publicly, but I want to say thank you to the committees before us that really laid the groundwork for that and set some visionary processes in place for us. So I'll let everybody else talk now.
Well, I was going to say on that note, Sarah, you mentioned you went to Winter Leadership Experiences before you were on the committee. So you had some things in mind you wanted to do differently and maybe make your mark as a committee on this upcoming Winter Leadership Experience. What would those things be to you?
So I'm going to piggyback basically off of his answer. I think that the fact that we have kids programming for families that have kids that don't necessarily have childcare at home is huge. I think that's awesome for 2 things. One, it gives them a place to go that so mom and dad can enjoy the conference, but then 2, they get to learn all about Farm Bureau and, have that love from an early age. So I'm really excited about that. In addition to that, our sessions are really good. Really, really good. And they're going to prompt a lot of really good conversations. I am all about community and conversations and doing that. And this just provides that perfect venue and opportunity and time to do that. So I'm really excited. I know Mary Pat Sass is one of the ones that comes to mind right away. That's going to be very relatable, and not just for younger, but also for older. So it's going to be a really, really good conference.
And Carly, I really can't talk to a young ag professional about any event you guys put on without using the word networking. And that's going to be something that is going to be highlighted once again this year, early February in Sandusky.
Yes, for sure. So this year that once again we hammer home on all of those quality educational pieces, but with any Farm Bureau event, we know that networking is probably one of the number one contributors to the success of the event. So bringing together folks from all over the state, having those family dynamics put into play is going to make for quite the interesting conference. But we hope that everyone gets something out of it and has some fun while we're doing it, because we know that we are a Farm Bureau family. And once we all get together, it's going to be a great time. We're having some 90s theme music for our entertainment. And I am on the promo and marketing committee, so I hope I can do something here for you, Tim, to get that 4-generation family together. We can do a t-shirt or something for sure.
I might be able to dig some up in the basement and bring it along with me too.
Yeah.
So Tim, I'll keep your promise for you if that 4 generations comes up to you. Plenty of time to get registered, but really now is the best time. While you're thinking about it, while you're online, just check out the website ofb.ag/Farm 2025 WLE. And of course, we'll have that link at ohiofarmbureau.org and also in the description of this podcast as well. So you can easily get registered for the Winter Leadership Experience put on by Ohio Farm Bureau's Young Ag Professionals coming up February 7th and 8th in Sandusky at Kalahari. Co-chairs Tim and Sarah Terrell and Carly Fitz joining us on the podcast. Great to visit with you all. I'm even more excited now than I was before about Winter Leadership Experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Find previous podcasts at ohiofarmbureau.org and search podcast.